Hey, it's Russ from Pilates Guy. I'm going to take you through a hamstring stretch. It's a really good stretch to get those hamstrings loosened up if they're tight from training and that sort of thing. Typically, if you suffer with hamstring tightness of the hamstrings quite often, there's probably something else going on around the hips, or maybe a postural issue, or a glutes not working. So it's not necessarily going to be a cure. You need to look at what the root cause is. But if it is typically just tight hamstrings, you want to loosen up a little bit, or you're just stretching from activity, then this would be a good one for you. It's going to be some developmental stretching in there. It's best don't do this if you're pregnant or if you're kind of a little bit older and not that active, because it's going to put a bit of pressure on through those hamstrings. But it should be reasonably accessible for most. If there's any injuries or anything else, obviously perhaps don't do this if you've got specific injuries, conditions. But this general good stretch for the hamstrings. So we're going to start off with the Pilates exercise, actually the roll down. So I'll talk you through that a couple of times. Really good way to get you closer to touching those toes, which if you've got very tight hamstrings, you might struggle with. So you just bringing yourselves, I'm going to bring myself to the end of my mat. You don't have to use a mat for this at all. But what we want to do is just stand up nice and tall with our shoulders back and down, lengthening up through the top of the head, tucking your chin so you're really nice and tall through the body. Legs are straight, but your knees are soft. You don't look out your knees. And you do need a neutral pelvis, which will set up in at the beginning of every Pilates session, and I'll link the video at the end if you're not sure about getting a neutral pelvis, neutral spine. So we're nice and tall. We need core engagement, so the abdominal pelvic engagement here. Nice deep breath in through the nose, and as you breathe out, just let your chin drop to your chest. Let your head hang like a dead weight. And when your head is hanging like a dead weight, we're starting to peel that spine over. We'll let the shoulder blades separate and the arms just slide forward. And then your arms are hanging like a dead weight as well. And I just want you to let the weight of your head and arms start to pull you over to the gap ahead of your feet. So you want to go ahead of your toes. So you're peeling forwards. You're trying to keep your legs straight, knees soft. You've got to keep the core strong. And you're just letting the weight of the head and the arms pull you over towards the floor. Now you might let your hands run down your legs. You might just let your arms hang. You might be able to touch your toes. You might be able to get your hands to the floor. But I just want you to bring yourself down to your maximum stretch, wherever that is. Whether your hands are on the floor. If your hands get to the floor, just take a few nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, and stretch a little bit more with each out breath. Just letting your head hang, just letting your arms hang, keeping the legs straight and the knees soft. If you struggle to get your hands to the floor, bend your knees until your hands come to the floor. And instead of stretching more downwards with each out breath, what I'd want you to do is straighten out your legs a little bit with each out breath, and then let the knees bend as you breathe in. Breathing out as you stretch, breathing in as you let them bend. So you're just straightening up until you feel that stretch, and then releasing. So we just do about 5 or 6 breaths here, either stretching down a bit more or bending and straightening the knees. And once you've done those, we're going to come back up. So we're going to switch the core, keep the core switched on, legs are straight, knees soft. We start to push through the front of the feet. We start to rebuild the body. When your hands get to your knees, you do need to tuck your tailbone a little bit, bringing the pelvis back to neutral. And then we restack, rebuild the spine. So this does stretch all the way through your back as well as the backs of the legs. So just doing this a couple of times is a good idea. So back at the top, nice deep breath in, standing tall. Breathing out, we roll down, chin to chest, shoulder blades slide forward. We're peeling over again, ahead of the toes. Legs straight here, don't look out the knees yet. Keep the core strong. Peeling over. We bring ourselves to our maximum, wherever that is. If you need to bend the knees, but bring the hands to the floor. And then we either breathe in through the nose, out as we stretch a bit more, or we bend the knees as we breathe in, bring the hands forward, breathe out as you stretch a bit more. So whichever one you're doing, 3 more breaths, just stretching a bit through the backs of those legs. Keep your cores engaged. Remember, don't let those cores just relax away. Just getting a stretch through the backs of the legs. This will get you closer to touching those toes if you can't already. Once we're there, we're just going to bring ourselves down to the floor. So once you're at the bottom of that, we're going to bring ourselves down to the floor. I do put in the text that you need a band or a belt, or even a towel if you haven't got anything, or a blanket. But a band like this is really good. You can use a belt as well. So the next stretch for the hamstrings, we're going to bring ourselves down onto our backs. So here you're going to do a developmental stretch for the hamstrings. Really good to get some flexibility there and to ease out some tightness. So what we're going to do is just loop the band around one foot, about an equal side on each side of the band. We're going to bring ourselves down onto the floor. And we need a neutral spine again, just like when we were stood up. And again, the video about neutral will explain neutral when we're on the floor. And we're just going to lengthen that one leg up towards the ceiling. Now you can have this leg bent if you want to, or straight. Benefit of having it straight is it will keep your bum down on the floor. If you do bend the legs, sometimes we can start to peel away when we're stretching the hamstrings, and we don't want that lift. So we want to keep in neutral. So if you want to straighten or bend, whatever's more comfortable. What we do want to do is straighten this leg out and flex the foot toes towards your head if you can. So you're flexing your foot, feel that deep stretch through the back of the leg, even if it means your leg is further away. It's better to be like this than to be closer and be like this. So we want to just straighten out and then just slowly start to bring that band, pull that leg in towards you until you feel that stretch on the back of the hamstrings and into the calf as well. If you find that your calf's really overriding, if you've got very tight calves, it could override the stretch in the hamstrings. If you need to, you can just take the flex out of the foot and bring that leg in a bit closer and feel that stretch in the hamstrings. Okay, so just breathe and slowly bring that leg in towards you with every out breath. We just want to increase that pressure more and more. You're just going to hold this one for about 15 seconds. So that's probably about 15 seconds. Then what I want you to do is just release, so let the leg bend. Okay, so just let the pressure go, but keep the band on the foot. Then we're going to go back in for a little bit longer this time. We're going to hold for 25 seconds. So we're going to bring that in towards us. Slowly increasing that intensity, stretching all the way through the back of the leg. Remember, you're keeping your bum cheeks down on the mat. You're not letting your back change position from neutral, and you're just breathing as you bring that leg in. Every out breath, just try and relax the muscles. Focus on relaxing the muscles. They will be tense where you're stretching them, but try and just relax everything as much as you can. 25-second hold, and we'll release. We'll let that knee bend and just relax again. So we've got two more little variations to do here with this hamstring stretch. So we're going to take that leg back up straight, just in bringing it in until we feel the stretch. So that toes are pointing in a straight line with the body. What I want you to do now is just find that light stretch. And I want you to rotate your leg so your toe will actually point outwards. So I'll just flip around to show you what I'm doing here. So we're going from this position and we're just letting that foot turn out slightly. So you're almost twisting your leg so your toe points over to a bit of a diagonal, and we're going to bring that leg in towards us with a slight twist. You might not bring it in as far. It's a 15-second hold as you breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Every out breath, you're just trying to bring that leg in a bit more and a bit more. After 15 seconds, again, you bend and release. You take the leg back up to the start position after you've released a little bit, and we're going to go the other way. So that toe's now pointing off towards my opposite shoulder, across the body, but we're then bringing that leg in towards us and just feeling that stretch, trying to hit more of a broad stretch across the hamstrings, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. 15-second hold again here. And we release and let that bend in. We'll take the band off that leg now and we'll do the other side. So just as a bit of a refresh, we'll get that bend around the foot, we'll bring ourselves down onto our back. You can have this leg bent or straight, just do the same on each side, but whatever you do, don't let your bum start peeling away from the mat. So we get that leg straight, the foot flexed if you can, and we start to bring that leg in until we feel the stretch through the hamstrings and the calf a little. But if the calves are so tight that you're not feeling much in the hamstrings and it's all up here, just let the foot relax a little bit and just bring it in a bit closer, and you should feel that it gets into those hamstrings a bit more. Find what works for you, and we're just holding here again for about 12-15 seconds, breathing, relaxing, more with every out breath. And after that one, we'll just let the knee bend. And the next one's a 25-second hold, okay? So we let that bend, we release, we bring that back in. Same setup, and we bring it in for about 25 seconds this time. So you're breathing deeply, nice deep breaths. When you breathe out, your body relaxes, and we're just trying to relax everything as much as we can. Obviously, these stretching muscles won't feel very relaxed, but we don't want to be tensing up the muscles. So just try and focus on relaxing as you breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Every out breath, we just try and relax and see if we can get that foot in a little bit closer, a little bit closer. And then after 25-second hold, we're going to relax there. Just let that tension go, let the leg bend. So we've got our two more variations here. So when we're ready, we're going to take that leg up. It's a 15-second stretch. But what we're going to do, first of all, is just rotate the whole leg. Not the rest of the body. You're not twisting your hips or anything. You're not twisting your pelvis. You're just rotating the legs so the toes point slightly out over a diagonal, and then we'll start to bring that leg in, breathing, bringing that leg in for a stretch. You're going to feel that change slightly, broadening that stretch down the back of the legs, breathing. So it's a 15-second hold, which we've probably done by now, haven't we, as I've been talking. So after 15 seconds, you can release there. And then we just bring that back in, leg straight, foot flexed. And this time the toe rotates the other way. You might find it's a very small movement. It's probably not going to be a very big movement, but we rotate so the toe points off over towards that other shoulder, and we're just bringing that leg in. So we're still pulling the leg in towards our head in a straight line, but the leg is rotated slightly, and you're just pulling that in until you feel that stretch. Keep breathing, 15-second hold. And then we release. We're going to bring ourselves up now to kneeling position. So when we're stretching hamstrings, if you've got tight hamstrings, a lot of the time it is to do with the hips. So what we're going to do is just combine a hamstring stretch and a hip stretch, just to try and loosen up hamstrings and hips a little bit. So let's say it's all connected, isn't it? So we'll start off with a hip flexor stretch, kneeling. Roll your shoulders, make yourself really nice and tall. Hands on your hips, and you're just going to tuck your tailbone under. For me, that's an instant stretch here. But if you want to make that a deeper stretch, you're going to squeeze your glute, ease forward into that stretch, and just feel that stretch deepen in the hip flexors. And if you'd like to deepen that further as you ease into this, it's about 20 seconds we're going to hold here. You can take the arm of the same side you're stretching up. Look at that hand, nice deep breath in, and you breathe out and reach back. And that's just going to deepen the stretch in the psoas, hip flexors, just holding that. And then we'll release. And then what we're going to do is just push that foot out in front of us, flexing the foot so the toes point up towards us. You can have your hands on your hips if you want. I'm just going to push your bum backward, hinging forwards. Feel the stretch down the back of the legs. You can bring the fingertips to the floor if you prefer, if you've got that mobility, but you're keeping that leg straight, the foot flexed, and you're pushing your bum gently backwards, hinging at the hips. About 20 seconds. Breathing all the time, easing into that stretch. So that's about 20 seconds. We'll do that once more. So we roll the shoulders, make ourselves tall, tuck the tailbone, squeeze the glute. Tucking the tailbone starts to stretch, squeezing the glute, easing gently forwards. Do walk the foot slightly further forward if you need to. Don't go too far. You don't need to stretch that far forward with this. If you wanted to deepen that stretch, hand goes up, same side that you're stretching. Look at the hand, breathe in, breathe out as you reach. Still tucking your tailbone, keeping your core engaged. A couple of breaths, 20 seconds in the hip flexor stretch, and we release. And then we straighten the leg, flex the foot, bring yourself down, or hands on hips, but hinging at the hip, and just feeling that stretch down the back of the legs. 20-second hold here, breathing all the time. And then we'd release out of this. We're going to swap those legs over. Starting again, roll the shoulders tall, tuck the tailbone, start that stretch off, and then squeeze your glute and ease forward into that stretch. Just feel that stretch into the hip flexors. If you want to deepen that stretch, the same side you're stretching, the hand comes up. Look at the hand, breathe in. Breathe out as you reach. Keep your core engaged when you do this, just to support the back. Keep trying to tuck your tailbone, even though there will be a bit of arching here. We need to try and tuck the tailbone a little. All in all, 20 seconds, and we release. Lengthen the leg, flex the foot, bring yourself down with either hands on hips or to the floor. You're hinging at the hips, you're pushing your bum back, feeling that stretch down the back of the legs. Breathing. It's about 20 seconds, give or take. It doesn't have to be an exact science, but roughly the same on both sides is what you want. Okay, so at 20 seconds there, we'll come out of that. One more time, roll the shoulders tall, tuck the tailbone, squeeze the glute, ease forward. Find that stretch in the hip flexors. Never go forcefully into that one, always ease into it. Take the hand up, breathe, core strong, breathe out, reach. Couple of breaths here. Looking at that hand, getting into that psoas. And then we release after that 20-second stretch, straightening that front leg. Push your bum back, hinging over your hips. Hands can, as I say, come to the floor, keeping that foot flexed. Or you can have hands on hips if you can't get to the floor. If you're very tight here, it might be a struggle. Just ease into that, breathe. 20 seconds. And we come out of that. And you can relax, just shake it off, move around, do whatever you need to do. Hopefully that's a helpful little loosener for the hamstrings. I find it really beneficial. The Pilates Rolldown's great. Do those regularly, really good for your back as well. Any questions, please feel free to give me a shout. Any feedback, or if I can help with anything, get in touch. Thanks for watching.